Hello and welcome back. Today on the bench are a load of bits of FR4 glass reinforced plastic board, which I'm hoping to make a transformer bobbin for. So the bobbin will be for a similar transformer to this, and this is the third attempt to make a bobbin, and this will be the second attempt to wind the transformer. The first time I made a really good quality bobbin out of cardboard, but I soaked it in varnish and all the rest of it, wound the transformer, but I ran out of window space, and this is hand winding, this is not with a machine. My idea then was to use this stronger FR4 board. This is 1mm thick and these are 2mm thick. Right, this is the third replacement Tech 500 series transformer that I've had to replace. The first one was with the Tektronix 585A oscilloscope that I got, and so what happened was, you see these two windings here, this is the power supply, you've got two windings on it. This is for a 585 scope, so we're just talking in general terms here. Some of the voltages may not be correct. So you've got these two windings here, you've got another winding here, and the problem was that the insulation between the two windings on the actual transformer and this one, the insulation went. So what I had to do was, I've already replaced one Tech 585 transformer and one 545B transformer. I think the reason for this is that these scopes have been stored, okay, they were built in something like the 1960s, early 70s, late 60s, early 70s. They've been stored in, probably been used in industry or something like that for 10-20 years, and then in the subsequent time since then and now to me getting them, they've been stored in sheds, cold sheds and all the rest of it. Also, when I've had them in this workshop here, it is not the best place for test gear, especially very old test gear like this. And so I had both of these scopes working. Last year we got a period of very cold weather, and then the pressure went up, and we got a high pressure front come in, loads of rain, and the humidity shot through the roof. Both scopes stopped working on the same day. I managed to get the 545B working. The 545A, the transformer was fucked again. So I'm trying to rewind the replacement. If you look at this rough diagram here, sorry my printer is absolutely crap, so I've had to go over it in pen. If you look, you've got these two windings here. On this, these are 113 volt, on that one it's 114, don't worry about that. And then you've got this other winding here, and I can't remember if it's this winding or that winding that the insulation layer broke down on. Now let's go and have a look at the actual transformer windings themselves. This is the core that came off the transformer that I'm trying to wind. As you can see, it is cardboard or some similar material, maybe an early plastic. Remember, this is back to the 1960s. Varnish paper, and then what it looks like is some sort of filling material, which I'll get onto later when I actually rewind the transformer. I haven't been able to find an actual sort of physical fault that would explain this mode of failure. So as you can see, here's some other windings. These are windings on the, further out from the core. We're talking like varnish paper again. There's another winding, got similar sort of construction. can see, heavily varnished, which is typical of the construction at the time. However, I'm not capable of winding a transformer in this same fashion. Also, it wastes a bit of window space. So what I had with the first transformer is that I ran out of window space, so I put all the windings on, and this, remember, this is about 50 quid worth of copper. I've run out of window space, so I couldn't put all the windings on that I needed to do. Also, like, I can't get the exact gauge wire that this uses. Fortunately, I mean, this is a crap like printout of the thing. We've got the wire gauges, how many turns in it, and everything. So that's really helpful. I couldn't get all the windings on, so as I said, the window space is wasted here. You got that space there. To try to maintain as much window, to try to give me as much window space as possible, because I can't wind it. I can't wind the windings as good as this. I ain't got a machine. All I've got are these. So to try to give myself as much room as possible, as much window space, I'm making this bit out of 1mm. I'm making end cheeks like that would sort of sit like that out of 2mm. As mentioned, you see we've got this bit of room here. Well, that's less than, hopefully you can see that, that's less than 2mm. So we gain a little bit, but every bloody millimetre, thousandths of an inch counts. So what I've done this all by hand, no CNC, bugger all. And really the method of construction isn't the best. I know you can get printouts of bobbins and all the rest of it, but essentially slippy stuff, it is slippy stuff. I've got to try and glue it like that. Okay. And so when I tried to make the first bobbin, I screwed upon the measurements a bit. I got everything bang on, absolutely to the nearest thou, 100% like, well, as good as I can do with hand tools, square. But when I came to do it with, try to stick it with super glue, I didn't have a good jig or whatever to try and glue it. So the problem I had was, so say I'm trying to glue this bit onto here. Well, how the hell do you position that 100% accurate while waiting for the super glue to go and clamp it? So what I found was, you know, it's like sort of not 100% square, and it ended up in disaster. So these are my first attempts, and I screwed upon this measurement here. So yeah, total screw up. So as mentioned, that will form the box of the core, these bits of 1mm, and then I'm going to have to cut out like a, if you can see my lines there, I'm going to have to cut out like a cutout there, and then that will fit over, if you're with me, and hopefully hold it, give it a bit of structural integrity. Well, I've stuck two pieces together, and as you can see, it's just, yeah, a really crap joint. I use super glue again, industrial super glue, but like, it's just not gone. So I don't know whether that is because I used this, it is actually ethyl acetate, so some sort of acetate of ether, isopropanol, God knows. Whether that has created like a barrier between the two surfaces and the glue hasn't took, or what, I'm not sure. In the past I've not had very good results with epoxy, but I'm going to try epoxy after cleaning these surfaces again and see if that sticks better. to get it to stick in the right way, like square and all that, I made this jig. So I found the flattest bit of plywood that I could find, although it's very mucky, although that is probably a good thing, so the super glue won't stick to it. I then drew a line and then secured this bit here, which is square. This is perfectly square here to here, and it is also square that way. So what I did, put that bit in there, and then I clamped it with this piece of metal, and then I put that bit there, glued it, you know, applied the glue, and then I used a big transformer to apply some weight. I think though, another thing that I did wrong was to maybe move the joint to make it was square, to make sure it was square while the glue were going off. So yeah, I don't know quite what I've done wrong there, but I can't keep having these failures. This is just taking too long to get this job done. Well, finally some success. I used Araldite epoxy yesterday and a different sort of setup in the jig, and that seems to have stuck a lot better. That could be down to the fact though that after I'd scored it to get a better, that could be though that after I scored it to get a better key for the glue to bite into, as it were, I used water instead of this a chemical, like to clean, you know, any dust off and things. So whether it's the epoxy taking longer to set, because it does take a little while to muck about to get the thing exactly right where I want it, or whether it's the water cleaning, I don't know, but I'm happy with that finally. So I've got another bit in the vise, and that's going to go there, and then what will happen, this will sit in there. I'm going to use this former that I used to wind the transformer, and then I've got a couple of wedges to wedge that against there. That'll hold it square, and then I've got a big transformer that sits on top of there to keep some compression on top of the join. Mixing some glue up, only need a tiny little bit. Right, this is the glue, you see this, you need a smidge. Hate wasting glue or anything, it's become a bit of an obsession. I've tried the things where you get like a syringe, side by side syringe, and I've not had any success with that. It just ends up with bloody epoxy everywhere, and yeah. And I know epoxy is supposed to be weighed really and all the rest of it, but for a little job like this we just have to sort of wing it a bit. And I'm sure people will be going, well, that's not enough. I'm sure people will be going, well, you know, you ought to mix it a bit better than that, but it's only a little bit. Right, that should do it, I think. Let's try and find the bit that I've scored. I've got to, yep, there we go. Sticky stuff. It's been a problem with glue, isn't it? Oh, don't say I haven't mixed enough. It is a hard joint to glue, this is really. I mean, there's not a lot of surface, is there? You know, for the glue to get hold of. But I'm hoping that the side cheeks will add a lot more strength. There we go. Let's try that then. Yesterday I used talc as well, but what I've got a bit is some cheap parcel tape there, and I'm hoping that if it does stick, it'll stick to the tape and we can always sort of file the tape off or something. The other one this morning came off. When I took it off this morning, I left it overnight, it was okay. So this is the other thing to make sure. You've got to make sure it's right on loads of different fronts. Alright, make sure that that's right. Okie doke. Should be right there. Oh, you tit box. Not easy, you see. All your hard work can be just undone in a few seconds. Right, we'll just leave that there. Put a bit of talc on there, stop it sticking. Put that there. Right, check again that that edge there and that edge there are right. Yeah, they should be. Just put me wedges in. You only need to be just holding that in. A tad. My spacer. And then I just got to find a big transformer wherever I put it. Right, see it behind me. Right, I'm just going to check that off camera because the camera's in the bloody way. Well, I've checked that, and as far as I know, it's okay. So it's just a matter of tidying up, cleaning up after me scent, and then waiting till tomorrow. It's a long old process, this is. While I'm waiting for that while I'm waiting for the bits to dry there, just cutting out the hole in the cheeks. Except I don't seem to have done a very good job here. It's a bit of a faff, but has to be done. I have used like just a blade on its own before, like I just did, but usually they go ping. So it's best to put it in the actual hacksaw. I'm staying well within the lines. Right, that's buggered done up. Right, that'll do. That didn't take long. There we are again, 2, 3, 4. I've managed to get 2 sections stuck together, 2 90-degree sections. The first one here took 1 attempt, this took 2 attempts. When I stuck it the first time, this face here was a bit skew in relation to this one here. It was, hang on, fuck's sake, it was like that. Obviously I'm exaggerating. So put it apart, started again. So that'll go there, we'll bung that there, we'll bung that there, whack some glue on it, and then they are ready, or they should be ready, to then go into these bits, which are the end cheeks as I call them. I've roughly cut out like a section in the middle, which obviously they will fit into. I haven't like done a right bang on yet because I don't know the exact dimensions here. I know what I'm aiming for, but whether that is what I get is two different things. I've checked that my laminations go in. I did try to do them a bit oversized, these bits here. Mind you, I'm putting a bit of pressure to keep them together, so oh, tits on a fish. Come on lads, right, just do it like that, you tit. Yeah, so they go in there a bit snug, but I can always take a bit off there if I have to, but we'll be right. And then like I've done these two end pieces, roughly cut out a bit in the middle, although I can see, oh mind you, I've not got that right. Yeah, they'll fit right. It was a devil of a job because I cut these a bit undersized. So where do you cut this hole? Do you cut it in the centre, or do you cut it exactly sort of positioned here, and then don't worry about that, and then we'll worry about that later on both of them? Are you with me? So what I'm trying not to do is, I'm going to exaggerate again. I don't want something like that, if you're with me. So they've got to be right. I mean, yeah, within a few thousand, yeah, but they don't want to be like that. So I was thinking the thing to do would be to make sure that on like this end they're both exactly the same, so we've got the same there, and then everything else can sort of take care of itself. But a lot of calculations, a lot of mucking about with calculators, and yeah, trying to get it right. I probably made it a bit too complicated, but anyway, never mind. I'll go and glue them up and then onwards and upwards. You can see why these lads use CAD and all that, but yeah, I ain't got a CAD, so there we go. Well, another day and it's raining again, and we're getting somewhere. I finally feel like I'm bleeding well getting somewhere. That looks all square to me, so I managed to stick the two L shapes together. It looks all square. I made it bigger on purpose, so we've got a bit to take off there. The glue's not 100% gone off yet there, so I'm not going to start messing about with that. That was the first join there. That join there seems to have done a bit better, not so splurgy. What I've been doing is trying to put less glue on, and hopefully if you can see in there, I scored it with, instead of using sandpaper, I used a sharpened screwdriver, and on these surfaces here I used a knackered what do you call it, scalpel. So yeah, that's good, although like I say, it's still, the glue still hasn't gone off 100%, and I won't start really filing it and whatnot until these are in. But now I'll be able to take the measurement here. Oh, that's the other thing I forgot. So the laminations fit in lovely. I made them purposely a little bit bigger. I think I made them 50 thou. I don't know, there's that many measurements gone off. Yeah, sorry, that looks a bit indecent, didn't it? Do apologise. Yeah, I made them a bit bigger on purpose, trying to calculate and expect any potential problems in future. Obviously, like, the glue in there needs sorting out, but I'll do that again after I've got them installed in those cheeks here. I'm going to put this bit somewhere warm to get the glue to finally go off, and then I will clean it up eventually. But what I need to do now is to drill some holes in the end here, because it's really hard to get your head around. There's so many different planes and whatnot, so can't do this because it's undersized. But laminations will go like that. Okay, and if I turn that 90 degrees, then this plate here will go like that, so that laminations go like that, and then obviously like this sits here like that, obviously to one side, and then this is the what do you call it, termination board that fits on that other bit. So when you wind in a transformer, you can obviously use this bit here. This bit here doesn't matter so much. It doesn't matter if it bulges out this way. It can't bulge out this way. It can't be oversized this way because we've got our laminations there. That is a restricting factor, but we can go a little bit bigger that way. So all our terminations have to be here and corresponding on the other cheek here. So I need to drill a series of holes in there. I made a right cock up and marking it out, but it will give me a rough idea. So I need to drill some holes in there so that when we wind in the transformer, we can then terminate our windings there, and obviously in the corresponding cheek. No good coming out the other end because that's at the opposite end of the transformer. Spatially, winding the transformer and everything, it's quite a bit of a mindfuck. So yeah, you really have to think about it. It's raining again. Definitely somewhat out of whack with the weather. Or is it a government conspiracy? Well, seeming as governments are pretty fucking... So I'm scraping off this excess epoxy glue here off this middle part of the transformer bobbin. Got that bit there, yeah. And also just trying to reduce this end bit here. As you can hear, it's raining again. I think every day when I've been recording this video, it's been raining. Climate change or a government conspiracy just to fool us all for whatever purpose, I don't know. I don't think so. Governments traditionally aren't very competent. Don't think they could organise a piss up at a brewery, but there we go. So that's that bit sorted out. As I mentioned, I think previously quite a few times, I made the bits on the side here 50 thou over, so just to allow for a bit of movement and make assembling easier. So I'm just using my trusty Opinel knife that I've had for years just to reduce that. Although I think I'll probably be better with a file in this case, so we'll try that. This is quite a coarse file. Try not to grip it too tightly because I don't want to bugger it up. took me a long time to get here. Using my fingers to gauge, you know, how much you need to take off. I think that's about it. Just going to slightly round off them bits, and then I'll use a less coarse file just to sort it out a bit more. Doing a bit of what you call draw filing, only takes off a tiny little bit. Right, yeah, that looks okay. As you can see, I've got the former inside. I wouldn't have filed that and held it in the vise without that, because it's still in a delicate stage. And that's one end and that's the other end. They're nice and chipper. Let's have a measure, shall we? I'm just going to hold that in the vise just for ease of filming. See how accurate I was. I've had to really up my game here. So that is 3028 or 3028 thou. I'll try and do it this way. Don't really matter, you can't see anyway, can you? Hold on, right, hold on. Just try and do it that way, maybe you can then see it. I don't know, what was that? 3028? Oh, hold on. No. 3030. Alright, that's telling me it's 3043. Oh, that, well, okay, so we're still within 10th hour, which ain't bad for using hand tools and what have you. Let's have a look at this bit here. It's not really the right way to measure this, but 3016. 306, right, so we've got a bit of disparity, however we're still within spec. Yeah, I'm quite chuffed with that. This is the first time I've really felt, you know, happy about the result, because it's took a hell of a long time to get here. This is the more, this dimension here is more important than that one. Let's have a look at that one. Well, I can't remember what I was shooting for. 1475, 1472, 1469. I think I was aiming for 147, but I would say that one. Yeah, 147. Yeah, 147. Yeah, that's pretty dinky, that is. And more importantly, that fits nicely in there. Yesterday I also drilled loads of holes so that I can terminate the wires and poke the wires through there, you know, to the termination of all the windings. Not the best, most accurate job in the world, but it'll suffice. Day 565, or is it 567? I can't remember, of this bleeding transformer build. As you can see, it's starting to look like a transformer bobbin. Hurrah! Just got to do this bit. So as you can see, I've got that bit fabricated, fettled, as I call it. I spent ages doing drawings yesterday, as you can, well, you can't see, can you? I spent ages doing drawings, taking bloody readings and messing about and farting about, trying to, I was overthinking the job basically, because like I cut these two bits, one is a little bit smaller than the other. As I mentioned, I think previously, I don't know, I've taken that much bleeding footage of this thing. I didn't want to get them so they were off, you know what I mean? I wanted to try and get them bang on as much as possible, but that wasn't possible. So in the end, after measuring the yin yang out of it with these damn vernier, what do you call it, things, digital verniers, which are really good, but if you're not careful you can fall into the measurement trap, which is just measuring the bleeding hell out of the thing. I just use my eyes, Mark 1 eyeballs, and that seemed to work better, because the problem is trying to get this whole square with the outside bits. I've got me reference, I've got my reference here. I can measure it like that, but how do you, measuring that is a little bit more trickier. Sorry, nudging the thing. Measuring that is a little bit trickier. So I eyeballed it, and then I just kept taking a little bit off until the bugger fitted, until the bugger fit. So now, obviously now I've got to glue it, making sure that that from there to there is exactly 3 inches. Everything fits, which is good. There's still probably, you know, a little bit of mucking about to do, but yeah. So there we go, all that fits apart from at the ends there, because there's still a bit of glue cleanup to do in the corners there. But I wanted to get the glue to, you know, really set off. So these probably been glued for what, about 3 days. Get the bugger glued up, then I can clean up that, and then I've still got to wind the damn thing. So yeah, we're getting there. So now, while I've got a bit of energy, I need to do the same with this one. And yeah, the goalpost is just up there. We're not far off, lads. Hurrah. As I say, Kalukaleo Pravjuste, he chortled as he walked. I've got the end bits about right. They're 90 degrees to this plane, 90 degrees to this surface here. But as you can see, well, probably can't see because I'm waving my fingers about, I've got quite a lot to hog out here. So I'm going to be using my big square file that's got the coarsest sort of teeth that I've got to hog out all that out. That took a few minutes just to whack off all that bit, or you know, all the main surplus as it were. So I've used the big old coarse file, then I've gone to a broader, less coarse file just to sort of get it a bit more square. And then now what I'll do, I'll just take a few thou off at a time with this one, which is really blocked. I'm going to see if I can use a wire brush to clean the teeth out a bit, and then I'll use that to dial it down. All the while I'm filing, I literally do a few strokes, and then I'm checking it with the old vernier every which damn way I can to make sure I'm not taking too much off. And then the other thing I'm doing, I'm using the square, because I've got a, where are we on this, you can't see, on this end I got my reference. These two sides here are parallel square, sighting along the square, and I'm just putting a mark with a pen, and I'll just take that bit off there, check, keep checking, few strokes, keep check, because you can't put material back on, obviously. Having got hogged off most of the material that I need to take off, and making sure that this dimension here is the same as this dimension here. Same here to a point, although this is my reference here, this is my reference side here. And then I just keep taking measurements. So what we need is the final, I measured this actual bit, and what I've done, I've marked each corner with a letter, so A, B, C, D. It does get really confusing if you're not careful. I think that's an E, F, G, H, or you know, you get the idea. And then what I'm doing, I'm taking specific readings as I go. So what I've done, I've marked those letters on these end bits here. So we've got C, D, H, G. So I've got some reference, because if you're making things by hand, I don't know, we can't get them absolutely bang on. So for instance, I mean, they're not bad. For, let me just see, that there and that there are all within 1 thou. So that ain't too bad. That ain't too bad at all. This way here is a little bit more off, but that doesn't matter. What we got there, one is 3016 and the other one is 3014, so it's within about 10 thou, so that's okay. I'm trying not to be overly obsessive with the measurements, otherwise, you know, madness, that way madness lies. So now I've sort of got that about right. That measurement there is about the same as that one there. I'm now concentrating on the actual width. The actual width is 1468. So what we got there, 14, so we've got about 100 thou or more to take off. So what else we'll do now is really start to try and dial it in. Well, I'm creeping up on it, but it's this last little bit is taking a little bit of time. So this here, this gap here is 60 thou too big, so I need to take off 30 thou off this side, 30 thou off this side. I've got this dimension here, 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 bang on within a few thou. So it's just a matter of just keep having at it, trying to get it, keep that, keep this, you know, the what do you call it, square and not dished, because obviously when you're filing, if I'm filing like this, I tend to put more pressure here than I do here. So what you end up is with a dished sort of shape rather than a flat shape, is, you know, which is what you're after. So you have to watch out for bias in your movements. You know, it's body's a skin and bone, not a freaking machine, not a robot, are we? I don't know if you can actually see, there is a little bit of dishing going, but I'm trying to, you know, dial that in as I go. The other danger you have is because this file has got like this teeth here, if you're not careful you start eating into this bloody surface here, you know, the corners. Corners are a sod to get. I find them rather difficult. Yeah, as you can see, that one there isn't quite right. Yeah, I'm aching to get at it with a file. Anyway, I'm feeling a bit wary. I'm going to have a cup of tea, come back at it, crack on. So now I'm just sighting it in and taking off tiny little bits. Because you're dealing with lots of different sides and all the rest of it is hard to, well, I find it hard to keep, you know, get your head round. It's like trying to do A/B comparisons, like, you know, with audio amplifiers. Yeah, just tiny little bits. Let me have a look at this off camera. Well, essentially that's that. I did screw it up on that last bit. I took a little bit too off one corner, which I can't remember which was. So I mean, there's got to be some room for glue anyway, but that end's a bit floppy. This end is just right, but ooh, it'll stick. So now I have to stick it accurately so that our laminations fit exactly. That's the other thing, you see. I can feel that binding a bit, so it probably means like I've got to take off a little bit here and here, because that's pulling it in. Yeah, but that's essentially there. Woo. Right, obviously I've just got to probably just take off less than a thou off and just sort of dial that in a little bit, and then as I said, I've got to try and glue it so that our laminations so there's no gaps. I have to fettle it so and stick it so there's no gaps in the laminations. It's pretty bang on as far as I know, so it's just a matter of gluing it, and so probably what I'll need to do is make a jig. Well, that's all ready to stick. I've got it on the flattest bit of wood that I have. There's no way I can clamp it, so it's just gonna have to stick with just sort of contact pressure. What I shall do when I stick it together, I shall get it as true as I can with the square. Hopefully in a few days time, when the glue has set, I shall actually get to wind it, which will be a whole other challenge in itself. Thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves. Ta-da for now.